Well, thanks a lot, Dan. You could have had me up before lunch. Instead, I'm the first speaker after lunch. What's with this? Who had turkey? I want to see who my problem children are. Look at the room. All right. So what we're going to do, Dan, is we're going to put the social into social media marketing. Who remembers meeting me when you came in this morning? I'd like to say hello to everybody. Okay. I could tell when you walked in, we have smarter than the average adult in this room. Wouldn't you agree? Wouldn't you agree, Dan? Yes. Okay. How many of you have read the book, The Millionaire Next Door? In the book, Dr. Thomas Stanley profiled 2,000 millionaires to see what they most likely had in common. See if you can figure it out. Do most millionaires, A, have a high IQ? B, a college degree? C, an advanced degree like Michael Mitzger's, PhD, MD, MBA? Or D, are they good looking? How many of you think most millionaires have a high IQ? College degrees? Advanced degrees? So all the rest of you think millionaires are good looking? Well, maybe they could buy their good looks? Actually, it's a trick question. The correct answer is number E, a large Rolodex. They had friends they could call upon when they needed help, and these friends could call upon them. Why do I mention this? Whenever you get a chance to get out of the office and sit with a group of other professionals, network! You never know, especially in this economy, where another opportunity may come from. So, to get the blood moving in the room again, we're going to do a little social networking exercise. Let me set this up with a little story. I'm sure that you don't remember. Maybe Michael Metzger's remembers since he's pushing 60. But back in the 1950s, all dolls were baby dolls. But there was a lady by the name of Ruth Handler who had a little girl who liked to play with baby dolls. And she thought, wouldn't it be nice if there was a role model doll? Something that her daughter could aspire to. But there was no such thing. So Ruth created on her own what has become the world's most popular doll. There's 600 in the collectible line. Celebrities like Cher, trade, and collector. As a matter of fact, Ruth even named the doll after her daughter. And her daughter's name is? Barbie. But it took somebody from outside the doll industry to come up with the world's most popular doll. Why? Because all the doll executives had blinders on. They thought all dolls needed to be babies. So here was a lady who came out of left field and created one of the world's most popular dolls. Why do I mention this? Who in the room is a training manager? Responsible for training your organization. Okay, look at the people at your table. Many of them are probably facing some of the same issues that you are right now, and they may have overcome them. So please take a few moments, again, to get the blood flowing after lunch, to do a little social networking right at your table. Talk about an issue that you're dealing with right now, and maybe someone else at the table has already been able to take care of that. As they say in New Jersey, talk. Talk. Off to a good start? Off to a good start? Okay, we'll give you another chance to do that. Obviously, you can tell I'm the leader up here. I am their leader. I must hasten after them. Who is familiar with Zig Ziglar? Zig Ziglar was talking about the best history teacher he ever had. He said he didn't come in that first day and start talking about the War of 1812 or what was ever on the syllabus. Instead, he spent the whole first day trying to sell them on the idea of why knowing history was so important. So rather than me just launching into my presentation, what I'm going to try and do is sell you on the idea of why I believe social media marketing is so important. Did you know the average person has a direct sphere of influence of 52 people? Now, if you doubt that, mentally imagine your email address book or the number of friends you have on Facebook. I know it's more than 52. In addition, if you're the average American adult, you know 400 people. People you work with, people you went to school with, people you met at a speaker showcase. If you assume each of those 400 know 400, of course there'd be some overlap, but just to keep it simple, you now have an immediate network of 160,000 people. If you assume each of those 160,000 know 400, you're up to 1/3 of the U.S. adult population. And what are people more likely to spread about your business? Good news or bad news? Yes. Your average satisfied client will tell 5 to 8 others. Your average upset client, if you have any, will tell 10 to 16. 1 in 5 will tell 20 people how upset you have made them. It's so important that we stay ahead of the curve because social networking tools have only made it easier to spread this word virally. Right? Let's take a look at why businesses lose customers. 1% of the time it's because customers die. Although one attendee told me that she worked for a nursing home, her figures were a little different. 3% of the time it's because they move away, again, really not under our control. 5% of the time is because a friend or relative told them to switch to a different product or service. But why aren't they getting their friends and relatives to come to us? 9% of the time it's because they found a better product or service on their own. But maybe we haven't educated them that we actually have the better offering. 14% of the time it's because we tick them off, so they leave. The surprising thing is how many businesses give up without a fight. They don't realize it's 5 to 6 times more expensive to get a new customer than to keep an existing one satisfied. We're coming up on the time where we'll be in the NBA playoffs. And Mark Cuban, the owner of the NBA Dallas Mavericks, they did a little survey to find out what the lifetime value of a single season ticket holder was. They did this back in the year 2000. They figured out by the time one season ticket holder would be buying tickets and parking and concessions and inviting friends and families to games over his or her lifetime, one season ticket holder would amount to $300,000 to the Dallas Mavericks. So, if it costs $50 to keep them happy, so what? 68% of the time, however, 68% of the time, why do we lose business? Why do you think? Yeah, it deals with customer service, lack of appreciation. We ignore our customers to death so they go away. And you've all experienced this, haven't you? You go into a dry cleaner's, and what's the first thing they say when you walk in? Last name. You walk in next week, what do they say? Last name. You walk in the week after that. We all want to go to a place like Cheers. Remember the sitcom Cheers? How did the theme song go? Everyone knows your name. In fact, in taking worker satisfaction surveys over the last 75 years, what do you think the number one complaint of employees is? Wages, benefits, what do you think? Just told you. Lack of appreciation. In fact, knowing that, in my last place of employment, I had a coworker who always did a good job. But one time, Amy just went over and above what she needed to do. And I wanted to recognize this in Amy, but, times were tough. I couldn't give her a raise or a promotion. But what I did was I went to the Hallmark store, and I created a little postcard that says at the top 10 reasons why you're marvelous. And I filled it in. Now, she was a good friend, a valuable coworker. I probably could have listed 20 things. But I thought I'll just stick to the top 10. But then I thought to myself, what's Amy going to think of this? She's going to think this is weird or corny or stupid or strange. Is she going to report me to HR? But I thought I'd take a chance. Amy looked at the card, she looked at me. She looked at the card, she looked at me. When she looked up the second time, there were tears streaming down her face. Apparently nobody had ever shown appreciation like this for Amy. But the way I knew it made an impact, we were in the computer industry, we move around a lot. The very first thing Amy would do when she moved to a new cubicle is take my postcard and put it up on the wall. She said, if I was having a tough day, if I didn't feel like a valuable coworker, even a decent human being, all I have to do is look at your postcard, and it would remind me. I swear, ladies and gentlemen, if you go to Amy's Cube today, you'll see this postcard. What did it cost me? $1.59. But it's so important that we show appreciation for our fellow workers and especially our customers because they, bar none, especially with the use of social media marketing, are our best source of advertising. Write that down. Okay. So, with that preamble, let's go ahead and get started. How social media impacts your business. Why should you care? Well, there's nearly 250 million internet users in the United States. That's 3/4 of our population. Almost half of them belong to a social network, and we're going to find out how many of you belong to a social network in just a moment. 3/4 of them use social networks to message their friends at least once a day. And 96% of Generation Y participate in social media. When I saw my daughter come home from university, I didn't see her once send an email. How did she communicate with her friends? 2 ways. Text and what else? And 87% of teenagers' parents are online. In fact, for my other daughter, the only way she talks to her best friend's mom is through Facebook. So that's why we should care. In fact, let's take a look at what social networks are popular here. Now, what we're going to do is, if you could kindly take out your cell phones. And you know where you typically type in or use speed dial to call your daughter or son? Because, of course, you have to send them a text message first to tell them to answer their phone, right? Who relates to me here? Okay. Well, instead of typing in their phone number, please type in the code 22333. In lieu of the phone number, please type in the code 22333, and then in the body of that text, if you have a Facebook account, and you can choose any one of these, whichever one you like the best. Yes, simply type in 340367. If your favorite social media device is Twitter, 340467. If you prefer LinkedIn, 340477. If you love video and YouTube is your favorite, 76056. And we'll see what the popular social networking device in the room is. So far, it seems to be Facebook. Facebook has a clear lead over LinkedIn, Twitter, and YouTube. 88%. Among those of you who voted, that is your favorite. Nobody has a Twitter account. You know what's interesting was Harris and LinkedIn recently took a poll. They found out that 69% of American adults didn't know enough about Twitter to even have an opinion. And I think that's probably bearing out in this very advanced group. Okay, we're going to have another poll in just a minute. That's very interesting. Facebook is the favorite here. So let's examine Facebook as a result. Why should you care? This is a percent of a country's citizens on Facebook. This isn't the percent of people online on Facebook, but among the people who live there, age 13 and over, how many of them are on Facebook? According to the Facebook Global Monitor, that's where I got these statistics, in the country of Iceland, 53% of the people who live there have a Facebook profile. Now, granted, it's a small country, there might not be much to do there, but I still think that's pretty impressive. For the country of Norway, 46%. In Canada, 42% A. In Hong Kong, 40.5% of their residents have a Facebook profile. In the United Kingdom, which consists of Northern Ireland, Scotland, England, and Wales, 40% are on Facebook. In the good old US of A, 35.5% of our citizens are on Facebook. Now, that was driven home to me the other day when I took the dog for a walk. I was going down the street, and one of my neighbors said to one of my other neighbors, "Happy birthday." And she said, "Well, how do you know?" She goes, "Oh, you were on Facebook." To put that number in perspective, 40% of Americans